And so really it's kind of a loophole that he's going to try to push Jesus on you. So I said, all right, you guys are worried about this, my Jewish friends and family.
I'm going to give him 2 rules.
We'll have 2 rules and everybody will be safe. Right? We'll have our little safe zone with coloring books and puppies.
Yeah, so we had this beautiful relationship, Nehemia, and I have to say it again. You have been a dear friend for all of these years. And with those 2 rules, it was no conversion, none of that Jesus stuff, no New Testament stuff, no gospel.
How'd that work out?
And then the epic phone call came, and I'm going to let you say what the epic phone call was.
So I had been studying this Hebrew version of the Gospel of Matthew.
Secretly, Nehemia.
Not really secretly. It started out with Michael Rood came to me with this textual problem.
Tell the story.
And I used all the tools that were available to me, which was I said, all right, this must be maybe there's a textual criticism issue here of, I wrote a book about it, Hebrew Yeshua versus the Greek Jesus. But this is years before I wrote the book. I said, okay, let's look at all the different manuscripts. At the time, I didn't have photographs of the manuscripts, but there were lists of what the different variants were. There was meaning what the differences are in the manuscript. There was nothing there that helped in the Greek. And then I found out about this Hebrew version.
Yes.
And I did my little study on the Matthew 23, and then I realized, wow, what else is in this Matthew in Hebrew? It looks like nobody's studying it. It's been completely ignored by certainly by the academic establishment of the New Testament studies. And so I thought, all right, I could study this on my own, and I had started to do that. And as I was reading things, I realized I could see all this information, but I don't know what the questions are. I need someone who is coming at this text as, and I'll use the term, a canonical text. Right? I'm coming at the text like I could be reading Shakespeare, or I could be reading more like the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Right.
Well, the Dead Sea Scrolls are very important to me as a Jew. They're part of the ancient heritage of the Jewish people. They're written in the Hebrew language. But when I read the Book of Jubilees, it's not the Bible for me.
Right.
So I thought I need someone who, in order to do this with full integrity, I need someone who can read this as their text.
Sacred text.
Sacred. I'll use the word sacred text. Yep. That's what I was thinking for sure. Someone who could read this as their sacred text and ask questions that would never occur to me, and also, of course, give answers. And I thought, well, I can't do that with your typical Christian because they'll just try to convert me. And I'll give you a secret that you might not know about.
Okay.
Before I contacted you, I contacted some Messianic Jews in Jerusalem. And I asked to read with them this text.
Well, you've never told us before.
I haven't.
You actually contacted other people before you contacted me?
Absolutely.
Lama.
And we tried studying the text with them. I tried studying the text with them. And there was it's hard to explain. It was like I was speaking to people who were in a trance. In that I'm like, okay, what does this mean? What are the different possible explanations? And all they could do is bam, 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 conversion, conversion, conversion. And I'm like, no, I understand you want to convert me. But what did here's this man who taught these things 2,000 years ago, and this might be as close as we can get as a glimpse of what the original Hebrew would have been like, right? It's not the original manuscript, it's copies of copies, and it's been transmitted, but we can try to get a glimpse of some of the flavor of what he taught. And it was just conversion, 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 conversion. And I'm like, well, this is going nowhere because we're not having a conversation. They're talking at me. We're not having a dialogue. Who can I have a dialogue with?
Let's get Mikey. He'll eat anything. Do you remember that commercial? Let's get Mikey. He'll eat anything.
Now, I actually recently looked up that commercial because that's how I remembered it. And my wife remembered it differently. And it said, let's get Mikey. He hates everything. Isn't that what it was? It was, she's nodding her head. It was, let's get Mikey. He hates everything. And then he eats the checks and he likes it. And they're like, wow, Mikey, he likes it. But I also remember, let's get Mikey. He likes everything. He'll eat anything. It's the opposite. And it makes more sense the opposite, right? If he eats everything, why give him the cereal nobody wants, right?
But if he hates everything and he likes it.
And he likes the cereal, wow.
Mikey, he likes it. Now it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense.
Okay,
but I remembered it your way too.
But Nehemia, this makes sense that you're telling us something that I'd never heard before.
Yeah, so I actually met with a group of people.
What?
Like 4 or 5 Messianic Jews in Jerusalem. And we were having these conversations trying to read the Gospel of Matthew.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was like I was talking to robots because they were just spitting out these almost cliches to try to convert me. And I'm like, can't we just read what the text says without you trying to convert me? And they really couldn't. Now, I'm not saying that's all Messianics, but the folks that I was talking to, one of who I was actually friends with for a number of years before that, it was just maybe in their DNA in some way.
Yeah.
And look, I understand they had this passion and love for Yeshua that they wanted, me to embrace as well, right? Okay, I understand that, and I can even respect that. But that's not why we got together. We got together to try to read and understand this text. They brought the perspective as a sacred text, but let's deal with the text, not what your conversion agenda is.
Right.
And they weren't able to do that. And I, after a few sessions, I'm like, yeah, this is a waste of everybody's time, right? And that's when I contacted you, and I said, can we suspend one of the rules and study Hebrew Matthew together? And it's one of the things that's blessed me in my life more than anything else.
So Nehemia, I'm now going to tell you something that I've never told you.
Oh no!
So
Kill the cameras.
They'll kill the cameras. We're doing what's that called? The moment of.
It's like when they do live television and they've got a button they can press where there's like 8 seconds.
8 seconds and he cuts.
Edit it out. Here we go.
So we've been studying. We started with A Prayer to Our Father, Hebrew Origins of the Lord's Prayer. It's a book that's available at Nehemia as well. They always do this thing with the editors. They put in the banners. These books are available at nehemiaswall.com. And they never say BFA International. But we got a new editor now. I call the editor Y. Never asked why. Hey, editor, make sure you say A Prayer to Our Father, Hebrew Origins of the Lord's Prayer, also available at bfainternational.com.
About that. But anyway, go on.
So anyway, we wrote that book together. We traveled together. We went around the world together. But something happened, and that is we started studying that. We went to the depths of one passage. We did the prayer, and Nehemia, to this day, I memorized that prayer in Hebrew. There's an actual audio. It's on both websites where I get a chance to do that. We have music.
What I love about that is people can click on the word, Shabbat Shamayim.
Yes.
And hear Keith say Shabbat Shamayim.
Shabbat Shamayim.
Yid Kadesh.
Yid Kadesh.
Otherwise, you hear, people don't know Hebrew, hear it, and it sounds like just this jumble of words. I love that. We set up a thing. I hope it still works.
It still works.
You press a button and you hear the individual word as well.
So, and again, we could have stopped there. And did the book. The book was translated into Chinese. We went to China. Come on, folks. It's all over everywhere. Go to BFA, go to Nehemia as well.
Yeah.
Okay, we did that.